So, who started the internet? You might be surprised to know it wasn't some crazy billionaire who wanted to spread information to the masses, not even close. So, back in the 1960s, late 60s, and 70s, America was pretty scared. They were afraid of dying in nuclear hellfire. Mostly the government, but also the people. So, back then, for communications, they had landline telephones. And some of you might be old enough to remember those. I know I am, but if you don't, basically, there was a lot of phone line running around and you would pick up the phone and dial numbers. Now, these phones were routed via circuits from place to place. These circuits were rather centralized. Now, the problem is if you pick up a phone and call someone, it takes a route to that person's house or wherever they are. And you can talk with them until that signal is lost. Now, that's not very good if your country is being rapidly destroyed by nuclear missiles. Basically, if you lose your connection, it's gone, and you can try again, and you might not be able to get through. It's not very good at routing your messages to different places. So, the US military at the time wanted a way to communicate with each other, different points in the country, and they wanted it to be really strong. They wanted it to always find the last viable route if necessary. So even though we started with talking on phones, the root of the problem is we really need to send a message. And that's the least that we can do. But all we really need to do is communicate, not necessarily by voice. So the internet started this way. What if we had a network that routed through several different hubs? And it would send messages in very, very small parcels. So if there was some kind of disconnection, basically the next small piece of the message could still get through. Even better, what if we could have it to where if you sent a message and it didn't come back, you would just know to send it again. And this is where ARPANET started. So the idea that eventually became what we call TCP/IP, it is a protocol that the internet uses even today, is based on this idea. I will send you a message, which is just, a small part of my entire point that I'm trying to put through to you, my entire message. I'm going to send you very little packets, one at a time. I will send you packet number 1. If you respond that you got it, only then will I send you packet number 2. If you do not respond that you got it, I will send you packet number 1 again. So the idea is, if I send you packet number 1 and it gets blown up on the way there, I never get a response. I'll send packet number 1 again. This time, packet number 1 will try a different route. Eventually, hopefully, packet number 1 will find a way to you and you will be able to respond and tell me that you got my message. Now we can try packet number 2. So we send packet number 2. If packet number 2 can't get there, we'll wait a little bit, and then we're going to try sending packet number 2 again. Eventually, hopefully, you'll respond that you got packet number 2. Only then will we try to send packet number 3. So this is still, today, how the internet works, TCP/IP. And the idea of this is the network can be almost totally destroyed, but if there's only one remaining path from you to me, it will still find a way to get back and forth. Even if those paths are in the midst of being destroyed, one after another, it won't actually interrupt the message because I can actually send back packet 1 because I know you didn't get it. That's the idea of the internet. It actually started in the military, and that's something that might surprise you. Something that I'm going to implore you to look at when you're going for a job, if you get into a technology field, is, everyone wants to work for Google, Facebook. Working for the military or a military contractor or in the government is a really big thing that you can consider, basically, because the thing is, these companies, Google I think makes like 40 billion in profit, maybe, and the military gets over $500 billion of funding every year. There are a lot of big things that were discovered by the military. Not just this one. I'm talking things like onion networks as well, even other things outside of IT like microwave. that's something that the military discovered. In fact, if you look at a lot of big things that change our lives today, that was the military. It wasn't Google, it wasn't Twitter, it wasn't Facebook. It was the military. And they help us every day. Take GPS. That's another great example. The military discovered that. The military gets a lot of money, and as long as people have to pay taxes, they always will. So if you really want to be on the leading edge and changing the world, it's okay to work at a place like Google, Facebook. That's a great place to be, don't get me wrong. But also consider working for the military or a government contractor. It might just give you a better chance. So if you like this video, please give me a like. And if you didn't, give me a thumbs down. And subscribe to my channel if you want to see more of this stuff. Have a good night.